Hello everybody, I am Ankita and this is my third lecture. The topic of today is History of Human Rights according to different periods. So there are four topics covered under this: human rights during Greek and Roman, human rights during 17th and 18th century, human rights during 19th century, human rights during 20th century. Taking the first, human rights during Greek and Roman. According to Greek and Roman philosophers, there were three concepts which they were stick to: equality of all men, the universality of natural law, and man is the measures of all things. So these were the three concepts embodied in Greek and Roman period. So second is human rights during 18th, 17th and 18th century. The theory of natural rights was very popular in 17th and 18th century. So in this period, the concept came of social contract theory, which is directly or indirectly linked with natural law theory. Now, this theory was first introduced by Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau. So, what Hobbes tells it about? According to Hobbes, the state of nature was a condition of perpetual war, where every man is enemy to every man. So why this social contract concept came in 17th and 18th century? Because these people thought that every man is an enemy of every man. So people, in order to secure their life and property and to escape from the miseries and horrors of their natural conditions, they have to enter into contract with each other. So Locke, the other philosopher, said, gave a new turn to the social contract theory which was introduced by Hobbes. And what he said, that set of rules for human behavior and how they ought to behave. Locke gave a set of rules in which a human has to behave and how to behave. The struggle for human rights continued for centuries, but the first victory was won through the Charter of Liberty, that is Magna Carta of 1215 AD, exacting some human rights from the English King John. Okay, so this was all about in 17th and 18th century. Now coming to human rights during 19th century. An international treaty to abolish the slave trade was concluded in 1890, and a treaty to abolish slavery was drafted in 1920. By the end of 19th century, in Europe and North America, the concept of natural rights. So natural rights concept was already built up in 17th and 18th century, and even in Roman and Greek period. So in this century, what Americans and Europe done, they secularized, rationalized, and demoralized, and was reinvented, and was known as right of men. So in the beginning of 19th century, the demand for economic security and social justice, in addition to civil and political rights, appeared in the forefront of socialist movement. So, and that time, the American president Franklin Roosevelt gave a speech named For Freedom, which is often credited with laying the foundation for the incorporation in human rights in the post-war international order. Now, coming to human rights during 20th century. Now, when we talked about 20th century, we have already done with the world wars which happened in 1914 and 1939 respectively. So after First World War, League of Nations was established in 1919. League made contribution in two areas. Which were the two areas? Rights of minority and rights of working classes. So the International Labour Organization emphasized a new international concern in labor about wages, working hours, working conditions and social security. Now after Second World War, which marked a turning point in the development of human rights. And at that point, American President Roosevelt gave four freedom speech, and which often says that it is the foundation for incorporation of human rights in the post-war international order. So, second half of the last century saw a universal acceptance of human rights and general agreement on its contents. A Commission of Human Rights was set up in 1946, and the draft of 19 Declaration on Human Rights was prepared, which was adopted only by General Assembly on 10 December 1948. What this declaration was? It was Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This was the greatest achievement of United Nations, which became source of human rights. So which was the source of human rights? It was UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The declaration consists of 30 articles covering both civil and political rights, economic, social and cultural rights. That's all for today's topic. Next topic will be human rights in Indian tradition. Thank you.